So today I have a special guest here. He's my friend. He was my teacher, I think 1, 2 days, 3 days. We met many times in Vancouver before. And he's an actor. He's been on Arrow, on Supergirl, on Siren. Oh my gosh, many TV shows, movies, all over the Christmas movies, Hallmark season, all of it. And he can tell us better about his experience as well. And also he told me he's in a very popular show here in Brazil called You, Me, Her, and he's gonna tell us all about it. So Marc, please introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about your experience as well. And nice seeing you again.
Nice seeing you again, Alessandra. My name is Marc Anthony Has. I am born and raised in Montreal. I started acting fairly late, I think, if you consider, all things considered. I started acting when I was like 27.
Oh, almost like me. I started when I was 22. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, it wasn't one of those things that I was like, some people like, ever since I was a kid, performing was my dream. So no, I don't have that sort of fairy tale story. But when I did start acting, it was the only thing I could think of myself doing after that. Mm-hmm. And it's been, like, I just did the math the other day. It's been almost 19 years I'm acting now.
Wow.
Give or take, yeah. I started teaching 10 years ago.
That's a long time.
Yeah, so I've been teaching for 10 years. And so, I've been doing the teacher actor thing side by side for 10 years and been acting for about 17, 18.
And how do you think the teaching acting thing helps you with your own acting when you go on set and you do Christmas movies, for example?
It's interesting. I think someone's way smarter than me said to know if you really know how to do something is to be able to teach it to someone else so they can understand how to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily know if that makes you good at it. You know what I mean? But I would hope. But yeah, teaching helps you understand what you're doing because you're constantly evaluating, you're constantly changing with the times because the times are changing, in terms of the way auditions or the types of shows that are being made. So it keeps you current with the industry as it is. And also, to be honest, and a little bit selfishly, when you watch newer actors, three things happen.
Oh my God, prepare yourself, guys. Teacher talking.
One, I find when you see new actors make new actor mistakes, it reminds you as the teacher, like, oh yeah, don't do that. You know what I mean?
What would be an example of a new actor's mistake?
The simplest one I would go with is not breathing. You know what I mean? How many times have your teacher just said, breathe, just breathe, you're not breathing, breathe, just live in the moment, be in the moment. Don't think about before and after, just think about right now. So that's one of the main ones I find myself saying over and over with beginner classes. The second thing I find happens is you are sometimes inspired when you see a new actor just have a moment of greatness and you're like, wow, watching them get excited for the first time, realizing that they can do this sort of reminds you, or speaking for me, reminds me of how I felt in those shoes that day when I was like, oh, I get it. It's awesome. And then the really cool thing, the third thing I find is every now and again, you'll have a new actor give you a new idea with a new perspective because they'll look at a scene or they'll look at dialogue and they'll make a choice that you're like, oh, I would have never thought to do it that way. And that's actually really good. Wow. I'm going to steal that. Thank you. You know what I mean?
But he or she brings another point of view from 100%. Their generation, maybe. Yeah.
100%. So that is, I find the triangle for me that teaching helps me in my acting. It gives me a new perspective. It reminds me of the mistakes I don't make. And it also reminds me of the joys of getting it right if that's, an accurate sentence.
Yeah, the breathing part, I can relate. I've been there before, especially in the beginning. And I think it's with practice. You learn how to forget everything, focus on the partner, sometimes the partner, and whatever is happening in the context. And that helps you with the breathing. To breathe. We have to breathe, and we forget.
Which is the craziest thing, because if you get knocked unconscious and nothing else is working, your body still remembers to breathe. Even if you're out cold, your body still goes, no, you have to breathe. It's the first thing we do.
So did you start acting in Montreal or in Vancouver?
So I started acting in Montreal. I was doing extra work a lot. I was working at a shipping company in the office.
Wow.
It was I was making back then, I was making like $22, $23 an hour, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but making $23 an hour
guys, that's really good.
It's amazing. Right? And then a few of my friends went to Dawson College for acting, so I would go see them in plays, and I'd be a little bit jealous because I'm like, that looks like fun. I did drama in high school. I didn't take it seriously. And then when I started doing extra work for extra money, because I was like, that's so easy. I just go in the background, and then you could see me in the movie in the back, and that's my head. Is
it in French or in English?
Both. It was in both.
Oh, nice.
And then I decided that I didn't like being so far in the back, because I was watching these actors do this stuff, and it looked like so much fun, and you see the whole machine, and you've done it, you've done background, so it's like, wow, these actors look like they're having a lot of fun.
It's amazing.
So I decided to take a class. I did 1 year in Montreal, and then I packed a bag with 2 bags and a one-way plane ticket with no idea what I was going to do. And I came to Vancouver. I lived on someone's couch for a month, and then...
See, guys, you don't ever have to have everything figured out. You just find your way.
I think the scary, but for me, true advice that I can give is sometimes planning keeps you from moving forward, because, and I'm not saying not to have a plan, but I'm saying that sometimes when you try and itemize every single detail, you tend to go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to move forward because I have these 10 things that I want to do, but I've only done 7, so I'm not going to move until I have 10. Just move, and you'll find the other 3 as you go. Like, you'll get it. You know what I mean? Have a place to live, a way to make money, and a cell phone to communicate with people. If you have those 3 things, go do your dream. Go try. Go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Some opportunities just come on your way, and you don't realize because you don't say yes to them. You just skip.
Right.
Yeah, skip the thing.
I mean, if you jump out of a plane without a parachute, on the way down, you're going to think of 10 different ways to try and slow. Maybe I'll use my jacket, or maybe I'll put my, I don't know, I'll aim for some water. You'll figure out how not to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes you just got to jump and see what happens. So that's what I did.
Nice. So talking about your experience now on set, can you tell us a little bit about Arrow and Supergirl, Siren as well, transitioning to comedy and romantic Christmas show? How is this transition? It's super interesting, because at its core, they're very similar in the cameras and lights, and we'll get on your mark and your trailer and blah, 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 all that stuff. The difference I find between, say, Lifetime movies and Hallmark movies, or shows like Supergirl or Arrow or Siren, is in the CW world and the dramatic world, a lot of times less is more. So if you're too big and you're too flamboyant, or your body's doing too much, these shows that film in super tight close-ups, you know what I mean? Yes.
You just can't do that. You'll be moving all over the camera, and it's just not, it doesn't fit the tone of that show. But then when you move over to Hallmark, where it's like big wide shots and bright lights and like fun music and big bright decorations, you can get away with a lot of the characters that I've played, you know, that I didn't even, funny thing is I didn't even know. Like I thought if you would ask me, you know, 10 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever, if I was going to be doing comedy, I'd have been like, no way. I don't, like, I'm funny in real life. I'm a clown in real life, but in film, I am dramatic. You know what I mean? And then
you do like you like the villain, you know, I can see.
That's what I would have thought would have been my whole career, would have been the villain, you know what I mean? Or the thug or the mob boss or whatever. The police captain, that kind of stuff. And then what's funny is, it's one of those things where I tell my students sometimes, you're going to get cast in the role more often as the one you don't think you are. So if in life you're like a really nice guy, a lot of times you're gonna get cast as the villain. And in life, if you're sort of like, I'm tough and I'm man, people are like, nah, you're a teddy bear, no. Right? And so they put you in that. So and I just realized that. So like, for example, the character I played in Arrow is like this cop, and he's don't move, I have a gun, nah. And then when you move over to, you know, like a show like You, Me, Her, I'm this like happy house husband. I like wine, I like parties, and it's so different.
The opposite.
It's so opposite. You know, I don't even think Marty has ever held a gun in his life. Never mind, you know. So yeah, so it's one of those. It's very, very different. But yeah, it's just based on the tone of the show, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you have any special moments you would like to share with us? Like anything special that happened on set? Any magic moments or anything?
I have a ton. I'll give you one from both genres. So when I was on Arrow, and again, I just so you understand, like even though I've been doing this for a long time, I still consider myself new, not in my skill set, but it's a big clubhouse with a lot of floors, and I'm climbing the stairs slowly to each floor to get to the top floor for, you know, as a metaphor. But so when I get to set, I never really, and I don't think I ever would, but I don't ever behave like I am supposed to be here. I know I'm supposed to be here. I know I did a good job in the audition. I hope. I know that I fit the part. I'm supposed
You're humble.
to be. Yeah, I try and stay humble. But sometimes every now and again you'll see an actor like I saw on Arrow. You'll see an actor say something, and it's one of those things you're like, oh, I didn't know I could say that. I didn't know we're allowed to say that. Like that's okay.
I've seen some things too on Arrow. I've done a couple of participations.
Right, and you're like,
I know what you mean.
Right. So for example, I saw one of the actors. They were doing their scene, and they had to say a line, and the line just didn't make sense for the character. Right, and they were saying, I get why you have this line, but my character, we're in season 5, guys. This line, my character would have said this in season 2. This is not something my character cares about right now. So can we change it? Can we do something with it? And then my brain went, I was like, you're allowed to, what?
To question that?
That? What? You know, my head exploded. But
screenwriter was on set when I was filming Arrow. I could see the screenwriter there too.
And right, and the director, right. And so I was like, "Wow!" I couldn't believe that happened. So taking that new information, years later, when I booked the series You, Me, Her, and on You, Me, Her, the whole time was magical. So to your question, it's hard to pick one moment in You, Me, Her because from day one when I got to set. You know, they're already in I'm in season 4 and 5. So they're already 4 seasons in. It's a family. They all have inside jokes. And there's this new kid. Hi, me. And you're afraid, you know, you're like in a new school, you don't know anybody and you're trying to like, where do I sit and who do I eat with and all that stuff. But they were super welcoming and super, super inviting in terms of like, welcome to the team and come hang out with us and whatever. But my moment happened in wardrobe. I did season 4, and you sort of, after 10 episodes in a 12 episode series, you get to know your character pretty well.
Yes.
So in season 5, they had a new wardrobe person, and the wardrobe person was saying, "Oh, I want you to wear this and wear this, and we're gonna put you in this." And I said, "No, sorry, I don't want to be difficult or anything, but my character in one full season, 12 episodes, never wore anything like this, so it doesn't make sense that suddenly I'm dressed like and I get what they were trying to do. They had their own artistic vision, and they were trying to bring that to the show, and I respect that. But I was also, what I realized at the end of the day is I'm the one who's on screen. I'm the one who you're going to see. And also, if I'm not comfortable in, if it doesn't fit the character, then my brain is going why am I unless the scene is he shows up to the party dressed as a clown, and then he's uncomfortable because he's dressed as a clown. It doesn't make sense to have me wear little tiny booty shorts and little tops. And I was like, there's nothing in my character that would justify this outfit. Mm-hmm. And so, and so they changed it. So that was a really oh, wow. That was a really good actor moment.
That was your moment. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And which is what I've taken for me from now on. Whenever I go to wardrobe, I talk with the wardrobe director and go, okay, let's have a few ideas. I'll walk around in the outfits and find the character's body, and we're like, ooh, yeah, this works because of how he stands. How's this? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's more of a dialogue now than just being a mannequin where they just throw clothes on you and just wear this. And you're like,
Yeah, true. And most of the actors, I think they don't say anything, right?
One thing I will say to all actors from now till forever in wardrobe, you're not always going to get your choice of what to wear. However, be very strict about the clothes fitting you properly. Because sometimes when they go shopping and you tell them you're a 36 or a 38 or whatever, and they go, oh, okay, well, it's a 35 and a half, and we'll just try it. No, don't do that, because you wear it in the picture, it looks good in the picture, but then when you're in that piece of clothing for 16, 10, 11 hours, you can't breathe right, you can't move right. Oh. You're super self-conscious about your body because it's all bunched up in different places, and you're not thinking about the acting. Make sure the clothes, even if you don't like what they look like, make sure they fit you comfortably, so that you can move and not have to think about that stuff. That's the thing for me. Yeah. No,
it's the same case with girls. I remember sometimes the wardrobe ladies, they would tell us to wear the high heels like this size, and you're running on Arrow. How can you run with that huge heels? You can't. One girl, she just fell over her knees and there was blood everywhere. It was awful. And it was real blood. She was bleeding.
Right.
I think the director loved it, but I mean, poor girl, she had to leave.
She's hurt, yeah. And so you have to protect yourself, because they're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help the show or help the film, and that's their main concern. So you have to make yourself a concern as well. Yeah, because that's not their consideration. They're not being mean about anything by any stretch of the imagination. They just don't have time for the little tiny details. So you have to make sure. Yeah, for me, a suit, when they put me in suits, if I can't move, I have big shoulders. So if I can't move in the suit, I can't. Yeah, I would never buy a suit that doesn't fit. So why would my character wear a suit that doesn't fit? It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. So how is teaching for you now? Are you teaching online?
Teaching is very, very strange. I'm going to be very honest. So I've been teaching in schools for as long as you've known me, for about 10 years. I've been working at very different schools around the city. And so I finally decided, I'm like, you know what? I want to start my own class. And I thought about this last year. I was like, oh, I want to start my own class. So I left my school and I said, okay, I want to start doing, the Marc Anthony brand, the Marc Anthony space. And then COVID was like, boom, forget that idea.
Right on time.
I was like, I got back from Mexico last year, and then I was like, okay, let's figure this out. And then COVID was like, nobody's doing anything. So the short, long answer of it is, I'm not teaching at the moment. I still do coachings that people will call me, and and I do know that online classes work well, because I know lots of teachers that are doing it. You know, Deb Badowski, Ben Ratner, Jeb Beach. You know, there's a lot of classes. Shout out to all those who are doing that. They're doing it, and they're doing it well. I just haven't figured out how to maneuver this yet. Auditioning is, I can do auditioning on camera on Zoom.
Yeah.
But my heart is scene study, and scene study, I still haven't figured out how to do that over Zoom, you know, when nobody's in the same space. So
I see. It's difficult. It's difficult online for acting.
Yeah. And then I found a space that I could rent to teach out of, but now, how do I make it COVID safe? How many people can I have in the class? How do I sanitize it? How do I, blah, 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 blah.
Many, yeah.
So it's just a lot of ducks
to reasons. Just keep it there, your thoughts and your plans, because it's gonna happen sometime soon. Thanks God.
and here to go to say what I was saying in the beginning of this is, you know, sometimes there's days when I'm like, I should just do it. I should just rent the space and see who comes. It's just, if nobody comes, then financially I'm not making money over here, so I'm spending money over here, and is that the best choice? So it's the moment of sometimes take your own advice and see what happens. So.
And from scene studying, what are the things about scene study that you like most when you're teaching, and what can you give as an advice to new students to feel prepared for later auditions or anything in the acting world?
I think scene study and audition are a very symbiotic relationship. I think that one doesn't exist without the other.
Yeah.
I know actors who are fantastic at scene study but terrible at auditioning, and I know some actors who are fantastic at auditioning and terrible in scene study. But the thing, in my very humble opinion, I think scene study probably edges out auditioning just a bit, because, as far as I'm concerned, when you're in scene study, you are given, hopefully, the space, the scene, you hear your scene partner doing, the table is here, the couch is there, I have my lighter because I'm a smoker, all of the things to make it three-dimensional. Now, auditioning is taking away all of those dimensions, and it's just a two-dimensional
imagination
exchange. So the reason I say scene study for me comes first is because for example, if you do the scene, let's say you and I have an audition, and it's a husband and wife, and it's a big fight, and you're supposed to throw the plates and scream and yell and storm out. When we do the scene, your muscles, your body remembers all of those actions, all of those emotions, all of those things. So now when I say, okay, we just did the scene, let's get rid of the scene, let's do the audition, but you have to stay there, you still have all the memory of the in that little space.
Yeah.
Now, right? And so that's the difference for me. So if you are able to have a very good imagination and just audition really well, cool. But I find doing something at 100% and then doing it at 50% is easier than going at 50% and trying to figure out how to get it to 100%.
I used to hear that all the time from all the teachers in the school.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like someone saying, I want you to run in place, or I want you to run, like if excuse me, if you're supposed to be out of breath and you've never run in your life, and I go, okay, audition, be out of breath, and you just go, like, okay. Or I say, take 2 seconds, go outside, do run around the block 3 times, and then come back and stand here. Oh God. you remember how all of that felt. That's the difference.
It stays in your body. True.
Stays in your body. Stays in your body. That's the difference.
Nice. So what was the most challenging scene you've ever done?
The most challenging scene I've ever done.
Recently, could be recently.
I think, I don't know that I've had a most challenging scene I've ever done in recently, because I don't want that to happen. I always do a lot of prep before.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest challenge, I will say, once I get to set, is I'm very free in my movement, and so I tend to want to, and they're like, no, you stay right there.
That's your French side talking. It's like,
yeah, it's the French guy. Oh, right. They're like, stop moving, be still. So that's hard. And also when I speak, I sometimes would say, you know, I'm speaking to you. The word is, I'm so excited. Oh no, this is an exciting time. And I'll be talking to you, and in a moment I'll go, this is an amazing time for both of us. And then, you know, the script writer will come over, the scriptie will come over and go, oh, it's not amazing, it's exciting.
Oh no.
And then I go, fuck. And then I'm like, I'm in my head about it. I'm like, amazing and exciting. It's okay,
for
sure.
One word, yeah.
For one word, okay, we're gonna do the whole, okay, sure, yeah, okay. And that sometimes I have to like, I gotta shake that off. Because once I get into a scene and I'm really with you, like for example, the funny thing, the last thing I just did, I was working with an amazing actor, and she is so giving in the scene that I was like responding with her in kind, and my character says, I'm sorry, whatever the line is, I'm sorry, but I think you're mistaken. I know, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but I think you're mistaken. But she was so emotional and so giving. I reached out and I touched her shoulder and I went, hey, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but and that's just a natural thing because of the exchange that we're having. And then the director came over and was like, we love it, that was really great, but don't touch her, you don't care. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, sure. I was like, it's her fault. She's being too good.
Yeah.
So I tend to want to live in the real, authentic moment that's happening. And sometimes, more often than not, I'll say like 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 times, you can't do that, because the director has a vision for your character that's long-term. And if you change something in this particular moment, it doesn't jive or mesh with the story arc that they have for your character. So while it is a real moment for you and me in this brief instance, it's not conducive.
Doesn't match the story.
It doesn't match what's going to happen next. Or even sometimes if you're shooting out of order, it doesn't match what you're going to have to do later before this scene. So you have to be really, really careful with your own impulses versus your character's impulses. And that is sometimes odd.
But did you actually find out why they wanted you to say exciting, not amazing?
No, if it's because I have two modes as an actor. The collaborative actor, where me, the director, the writer, the other actors were all playing together. And, you know, in You, Me, Her, for example, I worked with in the 2 seasons, I worked with 2 directors. Jem Gerard was in season 4, and Gail Harvey was in season 5. Both of them were fantastic women, fantastic directors, fantastic, but very, very different. Where Jem would be like, okay, let's do the scene, let's rehearse, play, you guys just like riff. Sometimes you throw in a line and she's like, cool, I love that line, we're changing it, we're keeping it, go, da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, oh, this is like sweet. And then we're working with Gail. Gail she's like a surgeon. She knows exactly what she wants. You know, if I were to say Gail, Jem paints in like these beautiful strokes, and they're like sort of a little bit abstract. And Gail is like lines and like shh, like this. Nope, I just want you to walk in, say this, get the hell out of here, da-da-da, go. And so you have to change your brain. So to my point, one mode of acting for me is let's play, And the other one is switching gears and going, okay, what do you want me to do? Like
a robot.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't necessarily say a robot, but like I have a bunch of things I can do, but which of them do you need right now?
You're ready to follow instructions. Like,
follow
I'm
instructions.
ready to work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here to work. This is you're the captain of the ship. What's up? And okay. And then sometimes you're like, oh, this is the team play, fun, still work, but we're
Which way do you think it's most common to have on sets? More like strict orders and follow my directions, or you can improvise, you can do whatever you feel like?
That's a director to director question. That is a time constraint, money, production question. Gail, I know, doesn't want to do more than 10 hours ever. Ever.
That's not bad.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
Not bad.
Oh my God. When you have a 7 o'clock call and you're working with Gail, you're like, yeah!
Going home early for dinner.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you love it. You know Gail's not going over the 10. But to get to that number, Gail has to go, okay, we only have 3 takes for this scene, so we don't have time for you to do your shit, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. We don't have time for that. So you get 3 goes, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're turning around, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, so, you know, and I don't think that one is better than the other. I just think that it's just different. And, you know, you, as the actor, you have to adapt to both, you know.
And you will find those options out there in the market. You just adapt.
Totally. And it can change from day to day. Even you could have the same director, and then suddenly they're on a time crunch, and the director, who is very playful and lets all play, has to go, sorry, we don't have time. We just like, let's go.
True.
Like one day in You, Me, Her, I spilled a glass of wine on my co-star. Full,
oh my God.
It's full, swoosh. And it was like, we were already at like 11:30. It was like, everyone was tired.
Wow.
And then it was just like, go, because we have to change the clothes, dry the clothes, clean the clothes, bring it back. And so then it was just like, let's go. So
you did that? You spilled the wine?
Fully. Yeah. Which is another advice for actors. And that was the day I realized how divas are created, because on set, it's like an ant colony. Every single department has a job, and that's what they do. So what had happened was, I had my prop, and like talking, and I put my glass down, and I talk, and I finish the scene. But me trying to be, you know, humble and helpful, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna move my glass and put it back in the first position, because why? It's just my glass. Why does the prop master have to come in and set deck, have to change all the shit? So I was like, I'll do it. But she came flying in to grab it. I came flying in to grab it at the same time. Spling, sploosh.
Oh my gosh, magic.
Yeah. So that's when I learned, just do what your job is, because you actually get in the way of other people when you start to do other people's jobs. Even if you think you're trying to be helpful, you actually get in the way. So now, fast forward 20, 25 years, you have an actor, if someone says, can you do that? You're like, nope, that's not my job. If I do it, someone else is out of a job, because if I can do that, then why do you have a person hired, union, to do that job? So I understand why actors sometimes go, nope, not my job.
And that's a very good advice, actually. It is. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's talk about method. What type of method do you use to memorize the themes? You go on set? Do you have a private coach? Tell us about method.
So I'll start. So talking about method, first, do I have a private coach? I don't have a private coach, but I have been blessed over the years to have some extremely talented peers in the industry who I will call and say, hey, I'm working on this scene. I've been at it for a couple hours. Can I run it by you and you tell me what's missing? And then you get another perspective from someone who has eye, who goes, oh, actually, you know what? You're missing a little bit of the jealousy. Or what about where's the anger? Oh, shoot, thanks, man. You know, no, thank you. Good. And then I'll go back to the drawing board and do that stuff. So in terms of a coach per se, I don't have, but I do definitely lean on other people who are successful, and I think any second eye to your work is a good eye, regardless, even if it's just a conversation about it. But in terms of memorizing lines, knock on wood, I am really, really good at memorizing lines. I don't know where this little magic trick that I've learned came from. You know, I used to work at the Keg a million years ago. Shout out to the Keg.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I used to work at the Keg and Milestones and stuff when I was a server, and
I like the food there.
You're right.
Amazing.
But I couldn't memorize the wine list. So if you or the drink list. So if you would ask me as a guest, oh, what are your wines? I'd be like, one sec. I think I wouldn't know. And it's 24. It's 12 white, 12 red, and it's the same. It's just red or white. And I couldn't memorize.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, I couldn't memorize it. And then, but you give me a script, and I think it's because I love to do this so much, my brain just opens up. The words just stick. You know what I mean? I may not be word perfect right away, but I'm pretty damn close. And so I don't know how long this muscle is going to keep doing that, but for now, in terms of process, the words just stick. But as an actor, for the character, I try and figure out how my character sits or moves or talks. You know, I give them certain. I like to work with animal work, and I think like if my character was an animal, what animal would they be? And if it's a bird, then it's a lot of like, you know, movements like that, or
that movement in You, Me, and Her, or was the other wedding one you did? I forgot the name. The Royal?
I did it. I did it with the Royals, and I did it with in the Christmas one where I'm wearing a Santa Claus outfit. He for me was a Siamese cat, so he was very like straight back and really, you know what I mean. So once you find that animal, once you find that animal physicality into your body, the rest comes flying into your brain. Right?
Have you ever done a snake?
No, I mean in rehearsal I have when I've been trying stuff, but I've never been blessed with a character that I would love to have a character who's a snake.
It would be interesting.
I think it would be exciting. You know what I mean? Like you just drop the animal into your body, and you can, because we all see animals and imagine how they would sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
You just created one just now.
Right? So you just, and then you tweak it, and then you make it a little more human, and you know, like sometimes you'll see me do stuff like this, and that might be like my animal's tail, because I don't have a tail, but this is my character's tail, and
that's like, your tail.
Yeah.
See?
Just right, and if he's excited, it's faster. If he's not excited, it stops. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just little things.
And do you have any future projects you're thinking to do, writing about, studying later on, you want to share with us to end the interview?
I have a passion project, a feature film that I'd written years and years and years ago. And I think I really want to look at getting it made. You know, I have to stop thinking about, how much money is it going to cost, and start thinking about where am I going to get the money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can ask yourself that question forever. How much is it going to cost? It's always going to cost more than you have, or more than you want to. But I have to start looking at it in terms of like, okay, enough. Where do I get the money? Do I have to get a grant, or do I borrow from my friends, or ask for a lot of free help and stuff like that? So, yeah, that's a project that I think I'm going to look at. Moving forward.
Nice. I'm available.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an actress.
Yeah, right.
Cool. So tell us your social media so people can find you, talk to you.
I am the Messiah Complex on Instagram and also on Twitter. Facebook, which I'm not really on too much. Facebook, I just go to yell at people for political reasons. So if you
guys want to fight? Political.
You want to have if you want to be a troll and you want the troll hunter to come find you, find me on Facebook. but if you just want to, if you want to have some fun, I'm way more responsive on Instagram. Like all my fans from You, Me, Her, I love you guys. If you're watching, you guys are amazing.
Shout out to your fans.
They message me and I respond to them as best as I can. And I post my work on there. I like the Instagram live feature because you could just talk and leave it there forever. So and that's me. That's the story of me in 10 minutes or whatever.
That's an amazing story. We're gonna share with the world now. Thank you so much for joining me in this interview, this little chat, and thank you for sharing your experience, your ideas, your inspirations, your moments. Thank you again.
And thank you very much for having me. It's been fun. It's nice to see you after, we used to run into each other sometimes on set with the fake snow. But it's nice.
Snow in Vancouver is fake, okay? It's fake.
But so thank you again, and congrats on this. This is a really cool thing you're doing. So.
That's how we get to go for a coffee. We were trying to go for a coffee for so long.
Yeah, forever. So here you go.
I will catch up with you sometime soon in Canada, okay?
Absolutely.
See ya. Bye-bye.